ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to the program International Forum from our Lagos Network Center. I am Wilson Marshall. Well, since our apologies are coming slightly behind schedule, I have to put two and two together in order to give you at least a near perfect show. Today we're zooming into what is happening in the Middle East. Ali Khamenei is at it again. Iran, massive protests going on. All because of some distortions economically, and of course basic food items disappearing. You see, now the price just gets so high to the extent that the common masses were not able to lay hold on them. For the very first time in a very long time, all 31 provinces in Iran, they are protesting, and guess what? There are casualties. Over 700 persons killed thus far, including women and children. Little get to mention also the distortion, or I said the stoppage, so to speak, of the social media network, so that the world will be able to know or tell what's happening in Iran. And of course, we just can't talk about it without talking about Donald Trump's vested interest in the Middle East vis-a-vis Iran. He said something: if the killings persists, America might be forced to intervene. Anyway, with me here in the studio to talk about this, I have a vibrant political analyst, political affair commentator, but local, and of course international analysis is well grounded. Join me to welcome also Sir Swelime. Chris, welcome to International Forum.
Yeah,
Papa got your name correct.
thank you for having me. Okay, I'll give you a fast one.
Anyway, I'll take that for that. Joining us virtually all the way from Benin, he is no other person than yes, Comrade Elvis Brown. Comrade, it's a pleasure to have you join us this afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right. We're still expecting the likes of Honorable about to join us, and together we'll try to make a
And they want to have a life. All right? So it just goes to that boiling point for them, and then they know what will come at them. They're not surprised at the killings. All right? And they just probably just like, all right? It just point, and then at them. They're not surprised. And they just like, okay, we'll go on into resistance, this oppression, and then just break free. All right? And then, like you said earlier, the Iranian governments are trying to take the world out of it by pulling down social media. They even cut down communications, phone, and all of that. But yeah, the people are still going to get in. Technology will beat that, you know. The outside world, the US in particular, will get in, you know, smuggle out stuff and all of that. And there are people within Iran that will cooperate with the outside world to stick, you know, link out information and all of that. But this is it. They are trying to say that we've gone past this age. Civilization has gone past this manner of governance where it is Islamic rule and all of that. They are tired. They just want to have a life. Not this regimented control and all of that, suppressing their will. They can't express their will and all of that. It is primarily against human dignity. And these guys are out to fight. I'm sorry about those that are being killed, But you see, when you go out in a revolution like this, casualties are bound to happen, and then people are already paying the price. But I think very strongly that they're going to push this very far. And then with Donald Trump that is hovering over Iran, for Donald Trump, everything is business.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that, the
All right.
aspect of Donald Trump. Let us move on to Benin, where Elvis Brown is standing by. Elvis, can you really make sense out of all this, knowing fully well that over 500 persons have lost their lives in course of this protest, but still the protesters are not backing down. They are still mounting pressure on the government, saying enough is enough, that Iranians must be free. Take it up from there.
Thank you very much, Wisin. I think you're echoing. I could make sense of what the person in the city echo. I hope you can get me clearly. Now, the issue with Iran, the people are suffering. When a government decides to and pursue yes, you want to flex muscles with, you want to, countries around you, cause chaos, that your hatred for Israel and a lot of the money they get in basically investing in things that don't, make the lives of everyday life better, other than their own political agenda, green agenda. What they are now facing is from the sanctions that were brought, especially by America, and so the hunger in the land was devalued. And not so bad that one US cheap for 1.4 million real. Crazy. There's no way in the world that anybody can. Our currency in Nigeria at some point, $1,000 and everybody they cry on the street, and thank God it's actually the pressure is reducing. Or you find them exchanging at for $1. That's better. And the prices of goods, the price of actually food inflation went about 70 to 80% in the country. You find people you're getting 1 million naira to eat. That's unreal to eat. That's crazy. There's nobody that's going to provide that. That's the reason that they are taking to the street. But that's the last step. Don't forget that the series of protests in Iran over the years, was protest in Iran, all these issues, they have a way of pressuring people and forcing them to do their protest. But this is different. This is different because see, the reality is on the ground. It's very, very obvious. What these people are agitating for is not something that is realistic. It's on the ground. People are hungry. They can't buy bread. They can't buy bread. Apart from the fact that the cost of the inflation on the bread went over the 100. So the people could no longer afford. The price is comical. Push them to the street. I think that before we now go into what this on their current part, they want food to eat, the government cannot provide. And food cannot provide is also the government cannot be outside world. They restrict oil major revenue. They can't put oil into the international market right now because of the sanctions that we talked about. So a lot of them are contributing to a pressure on their economy. And there's no food on the table for the people. There's no food for them to eat. Government cannot even ease the tension. They can't, for any reason, subsidize anything. The government itself has to reduce your spending. Don't lavish like drop. These are things, push people to the street. And that's what you're now seeing from them, up to this moment. And
all right, I will definitely come back to you you, Comrade Elvis Brown. Now to you, Osose. I like calling that name Osose as a native traditional name. All right, let me take a look at it right now. Some pundits are of the opinion that you cannot exempt the U.S. from what Iran is going through. After all, the only one that plays sanctions on Iran because we're in secret hands when you talk about, the nuclear pursuit by Iran and so many other things that Iranians are involved in that the U.S. and the world are not in support of. Now, if you take a look at the situation, are you going to blame the government of Iran or the country or nations that choose to place this sanction on them?
Okay, there are a lot of things involved here. Let me just try to unpack it. There's that BRICS threat to the US dollars and then global economic control. Now, Iran is part of that BRICS system, all right? So, and then the US is not happy with BRICS, particularly Donald Trump. So they're looking for every way to pull down BRICS. So if Iran, being part of BRICS, is not exposed, the US want to catch it. And of course, yes, China, Russia wouldn't come at US.
But they're not fully part of BRICS yet. They're making towards intention towards
Iran
BRICS.
is part of BRICS.
You have the Brazil.
No. Iran is part of BRICS.
You have, hold on, yes, I know. But what about the BRICS itself? Brazil, right? Russia, India, China, and of course South Africa. Yes, now Iran want to be part of it. Yes, please let's continue.
This is a part of way of trying to discourage them because BRICS is about opening up to about 14 other nations.
True.
Okay, fine, and all of that. Then besides that, there's that Israel sentiment. Iran has been very stubborn towards Israel, pull them down. Then the nuclear weapon pursuits. Now, they've been regulated before now. After that exchange with Israel, Iran decided to be they are short and control. They can't afford to have Iran have the nuclear weapon. And let me also say this, maybe a bit difficult to say on TV, but let's put it stunts. Middle East is home to global terrorism. Iran is a very volatile hand that is strongly in charge of terrorism in the Middle East. Now, in the Islamic world, there's what you call the Sunnis and then the Shiites.
The Shiites, yeah.
The Sunnis, the Saudi Arabia control the Sunni. They're a bit cool-headed.
Moderate.
Yeah, moderate.
Yeah.
Then Iran controls the Shiites.
The Shiites.
They are highly violent oriented. Okay, fine. Now, they drive terrorism in the Middle East. And US needs to have a strong control over that. So pulling down Iran would be a major breakthrough to control the activities of terrorism in the Middle East. Now, Middle East exports terrorism to Africa and all of that. They have sister organizations in Africa, ISWAP and the rest of them, Boko Haram and all of that. So that's another interest for the US to want to do that. They've been having this back and forth with Iran, with putting the economic control on them, sanctions here and there. And of course, yes, that contributed a lot to what Iran is going through. Because ordinarily, Iran is rich in oil, natural gas, and all of that. But of course, because of the US fight against Iran, it has really affected the government. But if Iran can't stand the heat, then they also plan to give in. But they don't want to lose that space to the US. And the consequence is what we're seeing, all right? So, of course, over time, Iran has pretended like the sanction is not really hitting them. It's been hitting them for long. Now they've got to the breaking point now that they cannot hold water, okay? Just like Venezuela, rich in oil, but very poor economically. US sanctions, all right? That's what they do. It's strategic. They know how to play the game. US will come slow, steady, eventually they will get you down. They've gotten Iran where they want Iran now.
All right. Now, let me go over to Benin City, where Elvis is standing by. You heard also say, talked about the pressure, the sanction, talking about Iran being a major sponsor of terrorism, according to the U.S. You know about the Hezbollah, you know about the Boko Haram, the ISWAP, the ISIS, you just named them, according to reports that Iran has been the country funding this because they felt that they are protecting their own religion. But if you take a look at the situation, about 600 persons killed and counting because the protest is still very much strong. Donald Trump gave a very, very strong warning. He said, if this killing should persist, America may be forced to intervene, meaning he might just send troops or do one or two bombing. And Iran also issued a warning that if America should interfere, they are going to retaliate. Now, what do you feel all this will amount to?
Well, thank you, Wilson. I think Iran knows very well not to do what tell them not to do. They won't joke with Trump. At least they tested that before, and they know that it doesn't pay around. I'm going to do this. Do it. Right now, I am aware that cabinet is sitting in on what options are available for Iran. And I think when you look at the options that the cabinet will lay before him, he will decide on what steps. Trump will definitely do something. As a matter of the economic activity said, the result of Trump, 2028.
Technical difficulties right now. We'll go for a break. When we return, we'll continue with this discussion. Do not go. We will be right back.
Some days, there comes the Uge Mobile Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Mobile Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Yari yari, ọba àtọpẹ.
The Oba of Benin added a colorful mood to the year's celebration as he walks round the city center amidst cheers.
International Forum from our Lagos Network Center. We're taking a look at Iran's unrest, U.S. vested interest, and still, we are still talking to, yes, Brown Ellis. Comrade, are you still there? Now, please, cap it up with a pointer so that people can get to hear your own reaction to the threat by the U.S. and, of course, counter threat also by Iran.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. So, like I said, Iran knows how to joke with whatever Trump says. And so I believe that Iran is going to apply the internet to cover their atrocities. I'm learning that over 500 so far, and Trump is about to be briefed on what actions available for him. And I really want to listen to his cabinet to decide on the table for Iran. So you can be rest assured that Trump will do something about what's happening in Iran. That's one. Then two, Iran loves destabilizing the Middle East. And I think Trump is the only person that actually bumped them into the corner. And they're not seeing the result of Trump's own stuff against their hostility. And so whatever you're seeing happening in Iran today is in design from the U.S. by the Trump administration. So sooner than we ever thought was going to be. Seeing the results so fast, and whether I like it or not, it might lead to a regime change in Iran. But let's take this very seriously, because you see, the commodity that he prides himself having, that's the oil. You know, America is also producing a very large quantity right now. They are actually also exporting oil to other countries. That's the first thing that when they came into it. They compel its allies, American allies, to boycott Iran's oil, and they did that. Most of them out of respect for America, because most times when it comes to international trade, the first thing you need to ask yourself as a leader of a nation, can you trust them all? Are you going to trust America or trust Iran? If you believe that it's better to trust America as an ally than Iran, then you can abandon Iranian oil and focus on getting American oil. That's what most of those who are buying oil from Iran did. They abandoned Iranian oil and then they started America. Now America also is not in charge of it, which makes their export broader than what it used to be a month ago. And now what they are looking at is also to crumble Cuba. And you see that America has succeeded in this, disorganizing those people who were actually in charge of disorganizing the entire world, causing riots and wars in other people's countries, sending terrorists to other countries, and sending ammunition to separatists in countries. That is what Iran especially are doing. So at the end of the day, you could realize that Trump is going to respond, and either he respond through force or through more sanctions. Whatever it is not going to be good for the Iranian regime. They too came into power by protesting and pushing out the government that was in power, the monarchy. So whatever it is that is happening now will likely end their own the Islamic leadership of Iran. They're not trying a new government or maybe the same government from other person. But I think the ultimate focus is to shift the attention.
Oh, okay, now you just hold on. We want to go for a break. Okay, when we return, you're going to continue with your line of thought. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum reaching you live from our Lagos Network Center, and I am Wilson Marshall. Well, let me come to you, as I said. Now, you heard what Brown said. He talked about regime change. He talked about the citizens of Iran not being able to purchase some basic food items. And of course, the Naira-dollar exchange in Iran, I mean, it's like on phantom, it's like on reasonable. It's like nobody could even imagine the disparity between the Iranian currency, so to speak, begging your pardon, and of course the US dollars. Yes. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And now, with the warning given by the US that the killing should persist, UN is going to act. And the Iranian government also, the issue they warned that if US should venture it, Iran will react. Take it up from there.
Okay, fine. There's history between the US and Iran. Now, sometimes in the 90s, early 90s, thereabout, the US backed up Iraq. They raised Saddam Hussein to confront Iran. So they empowered Iraq to slow down Iran. And that wasn't a direct conflict. It worked out then, all right? So Iraq was able to suppress Iran, resist Iran, and eventually went on top of Iran through the direct help of the US. All right, fine. Then when they did that, again, we saw the exchange between Israel and then Iran, and the US had to come in to also caution Iran, okay? But that's indirect. But this will open up for a direct intervention, which Trump will not want to joke with, and in this way it will come in direct and then do what it got to do. All right, and that will be just to pull down Iran. But Iran threatening to hit back at the US, if they will do any damage, it will be very minimal compared to what US will do to Iran. In fact, the US can completely take them out. And the US, I remember in the past when they invaded Libya, when Gaddafi was head of government, they didn't change that regime. And I remember Clinton saying that was a mistake. So ever since then, so the Chavez international policy that if they invaded in this manner, they changed governments. And they've been doing that. We saw what they did with Afghanistan and all of that. So if they're going to come in now, obviously they will take out the government of Iran. And then once that is done, it will reposition Iran, you know, for global civilization, and then the US will always come in with their vested interests. Iran is rich in natural gas and in oil. And then the US oil companies will come in. They did that with Gulf War in Iraq. You know, they benefited from it seriously, and they will do that again. You know, that's ultimately where Trump is going. He can come up with all of this palatable reasoning and all of that, but ultimately, he's doing business.
He's doing business.
Yeah.
We talked about Libya. Since Barack Obama attacked Libya, he regretted attacking Libya. And Libya, if it can so rush down the picture, the US back again to the Afghan government. Afghanistan today has never been the same. Yeah. People are saying that if US should attack Iran, that might just be fate. What you leave the country to squabble and suffer for themselves. That question is not for you. Let's get to hear from Brown. Brown, what do they say about that? Going through history, US used Iraq. They dumped Iraq. You know the story so well. They conquered Libya. They left Libya. You know how Libya is faring right now. Afghanistan, oh, come on, you all know what happened. Now, if they should go into Iran, do you think the story will be different?
Because they had consistent with then is a position on issues going into the country ground and running by your ministry to say for years. But if you look at what happened in throw some bombs and then allow the vice president to take over. Don't let us have So he-
Well, we can barely hear you. Check your mic, please. Just check your mic. We can barely hear you. You're able to adjust your mic or your earpiece. You can please rejoin in the discussion. Well, let me come to you also. So this turn right now meant for you the way U.S. left these countries I mentioned. A lot of bombardment, a lot of propaganda. The leaders taken out of the equation of the picture, and the countries we are never the same. Are you talking about Iraq? They used Iraq against Iran. It's Iraq. You know the story too well. Afghanistan, you see people that supported U.S. once upon a time, trying, battling so hard to gain access to a plane that was leaving Afghanistan. We all know the story. How many people died all because they trusted the U.S. to do the right thing. Now, Donald Trump said that this time around, it is going to be U.S. for U.S. No more unnecessary wars. Do you think he's going against his own words?
All right. If you know Donald Trump well enough, you should know he's not very consistent, and then he can shift from one end to another in a split of a second. All right. But okay, like Afghanistan, like I just mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
the Taliban held on. You know, U.S. stayed for over 20 years, and every day they discovered that look, it's not working. All right, and billions of dollars expended and all of that. Then they left because the Taliban kept fighting. You know, and though more like terrorists within
Yeah,
the nation,
ragtag terrorist cells.
yeah. But the case with Iran is a bit different because the U.S. coming in now will be popular with the people. Now the people are the one giving the opening to the U.S. to come in. In fact, they probably will be inviting of the U.S. Okay, because once you're coming now, U.S. will probably help them drive their wish of change of governments. And what Trump might do could just what he did with Venezuela.
Yeah.
Just pick up the leader and then go try them in the U.S. I'm not giving legitimacy to that, but you know, I'm sorry to say, this is TV. You know, Trump could be a benevolent tyrant. You know, his joke will be
Benevolent tyrant.
Yeah. There's tyranny in Trump, but it tried to coin it to be benevolent. You know, like if it's going to Iran now, whatever it's doing in Iran, we're positive to the world, we're positive to Iranian people, but it's still abusing the sovereignty of Iran. All right, so that way you cannot just take away tyranny from his act, but then benevolence. Okay, so I think the people in Iran will welcome what Trump will be doing. All right, that way it might go in with full chest, change the government, and then might even try to put them in jail. That way, so that their supporters don't come up and all of that, and they will try to uproot, you know, their structures around and democratize Iran. You know, so it will try to do that in Iran. It will go all the way, and doing that, it will also institute U.S. hold, you know, in the guise of midwifing Iran into democracy and all of that, and you know, it will, and also for protection, provide security, military security, and all of that. That way, it will have economical control, it will have military control, and then it will be trying to reintroduce Iran to global civilization and all that. So U.S. is a way of taking full charge of Iran. And then it will want to uproot everything that has to do with the present Islamic leadership of Iran. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending where you're coming from, it will be popular with the people. It will be popular with the people.
Popular with the people?
Yeah, and so the experience might be different from what happened in Iraq, Libya, and Afghanistan.
All right. Now let's go to where Elvis Brown is standing by. You get to realize that Donald Trump talked about regime change. In the 60s, yes, according to report, Israel and Iran were like 5 and 6, not under this government of Ayatollah. They were like 5 and 6. Israeli citizens do go to Iran. Iranian also do go to Israel. They have this, you know, this relationship, this understanding. Iranian gave Israel their oil to develop. Israel also manufactured weapons, gave to Iran. They have this beautiful understanding until there was a regime change. Brown, what do you think is the focus of the U.S. in all of this? Are they driving for a regime change to at least benefit Israel so that Israel and Iran will be what they used to be way back?
Well, I think the most interest of America in the region is Israel. You can't take that away. That's their number one ally in the world. And they want to ensure that Israel is safe. And Iran has those things they need that Israel already has. Number one of those is water. You know, a commodity as essential as water is not very, very common in Iran, and Israel has enough of it. Don't forget that Benjamin Netanyahu has used that as a form of a campaign to the people of Iran to say, look, if you can protest your government, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please continue.
All right. So, they have used water as a bait to Iranians to say, look, protest. We're going to give you water and all that. It's essential. Apart from that, America is going to go in and they're going to hit the government structures and their artillery to decimate them to a point where the people can, protest and ensure that there's a regime change in Iran. If that happens, the entire Middle East will be stabilized, because this is destabilizing force in Middle East. When I talk about the war with Palestine right now, the war with Syria, Iran has been responsible for everything that's happened around the Middle East. They have, like I said before, their priorities are wrong. They have a government priority is basically to send ammunition to other countries to stabilize those they don't like. And America has been, having leaders who have been romancing the ego of Iran. Obama gave them billions of dollars, and then they went ahead to enrich uranium, which they promised they were not going to do. All right? The Clinton did the same thing. Every president that has come has actually tried to romance these people, beg them, give them American taxpayers' dollar. But Trump came and said, no, we can't do that. We can't give them money. Rather, we're going to hit them. And they did. And that strike exposed Iran to the world as a country who is only good at propaganda. They do a lot of propaganda. They don't have the kind of intelligence they claim to have. And I can assure you that when Trump gets in and further their structures, their military structures, artillery and ammunition, there will be a regime change eventually. Now, another thing is whether or not America is going to do it. I don't think so. Trump allowed the vice president of Venezuela to take over when he had a good negotiation. Today they are getting what they want, and the relationship with Venezuela and America is better than it was when Maduro was there. So whoever is going to come into power, America is going to say, look, you are coming to power, but this is what we want. A democracy should be number one thing, and then peace in the Middle East is going to be number two before you can talk about America's interests. Now, will American interests come in? Definitely, because they spend a lot of money to do all that, so they will definitely want to have some vested interest in that. So America has interest, but Israel, the peace and security of Israel is number one. Then the peace within the Middle East should be number two, and then American interest and the interest of the entire world can then come in.
All right, thank you so much, Brown. We'll come back to you. Well, you heard him. Interest, and of course, lots of interest. Talk about Israeli interests, American interests, and of course, he made one vital point, saying if Iran can just have a change in regime, there'll be peace in the Middle East. Do you agree to that assertion?
Absolutely, because what Iran is doing, Iran is trying to spread itself across the Middle East, and then in terms of ideology and then military capability. All right, so it's trying to export that, so that if it's going to have all of that to itself, knowing that U.S. will come for her, but it's just a matter of time, and it's happening now. Okay, so and then it will not just end. The ideology will not just die, and that capacity will not just die with Iran. So Iran is trying to spread it, so that even if they are taken out, there will be others that will be positioned to continue with that ideology and that drive. So that's what they've been trying to do, and that way they've held the Middle East. They've held the Middle East. As a matter of fact, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say this. Saudi Arabia is defending itself against Iran by getting a bit dirty with funding some ugly stuff, all right? I don't want to stay.
No, you're talking about Saudi because Saudi Arabia is like, about self-preservation.
Yes.
Like what you rightly said.
Yeah.
Besides, and of course, just that.
Yeah. Now, what they're doing, to also try to counter what Iran is doing, is also to get involved with some stuff on the ground. Because if they're not doing that, Iran will be too powerful and will just run over the Middle East. So they have to get from behind, strengthen some other stuff that can resist Iraq. Iran, sorry. So what they do. So now, if Iran is taken out, and then Saudi Arabia-US relationship is super. So once Iran is out, then the US can also come in to make Saudi Arabia the leader of the Middle East, indeed.
So it's all about the contention for the #1 spot in the Middle East. Because it stands when it's between Iran and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So once Iran is out, the US can control the Middle East freely through Saudi Arabia. All right. So the resistance from Iran will have been defeated. And then all the allies of Iran, they will just be taken out. Once Iran is out, they will even hide their, bury their heads.
Now, some point of the opinion that this is a ploy to weaken Russia. After all, Iran is an ally of Russia. Venezuela is an ally of Russia. Taking out these people would just weaken the hold of Russia in their region. How true is this hypothesis?
Now, not just Russia, and China too. China too, because it's a competition. So one of the biggest interests of U.S. in the Middle East is to ensure that the U.S. control the Middle East economically and military partnership. So that way, they're in competition with Russia, with Germany, with China. So the edge they will have in global, being #1 superpower of the world is to ensure that they have that hold and then the others are not coming in. Now, you also notice that China is coming to Africa economically, favorable to African nations. Now, the U.S. is frowning at that, okay? Because the U.S. have not been able to do for Africa what China is providing. Okay, so
though they are taking more from Africa.
Yeah, so they are going to fight that. They're going to try to turn African nations against China, right? So to retain African markets. So far, the U.S. got the Middle East market, and they will not want China, Russia to come in. And Iran is in position with Russia, and of course, by extension, to China, all right? And U.S. is not happy with that. So it's a brutal contention. It all has different angles and channels.
It's a brutal contention in the sense it's all about global dominance. Iran seems to be in quote right now among the top countries in the Middle East, only rivaled strongly by Israel, because Iran seems to be at the middle, so to speak, still trying to say, come on, man, Iran, we used to be XYZ way, but right now, that is in the situation. But tell me, people, if you're watching, how can you do this mathematics? In Nigeria, 1,400 naira to $1. In Iran, 1 million dinars. Come on. 1 million to $1. That is the height of it all.
It's outrageous.
That is the height. I say no value for the dinar Iranian currency. Anyway, Brown, how do you think all this will end? Or do you see an end in sight soon before we call it a wrap on the show? Brown, are you there?
All that. Can you hear
Please
me?
continue. I can hear you. Yes, continue.
All right. So all that's playing out now is advantage of US as a dominant global power actually. So what you're going to have is that Russia and China are going to be traveling towards the US for what they need. Because now they can't get oil from Iran as it is today, and they come from Venezuela. All right, so they're going to come to America and say, "Need oil," because America has enough of it. America is in romance with Saudi Arabia. America is in romance with Nigeria. And so you have these countries that are producing oil. All of them are, now in the hands of America. I think it's a chess game that Trump played, and he has won it smartly. As of today, the riot in Iran will end. It either end in a regime change, or it end in serious chaos that will further degenerate into something that will last for some weeks. But I don't see Khamenei resigning because of this protest. They rather want to shoot at the protesters and killing them like you're seeing on the screen. But then, what is happening eventually, whether he likes it or not, America will have its way. Because if you give America an opportunity to further destroy those investments that they have, which they are threatening the world. Those, uranium they said they have, the weapons they said they have, America will map them out to the satellite and drop some bombs on them, and that's the end of it. And so now they have nothing, and they come to the table to negotiate. All right, so when they negotiate, that they negotiate and the sanctions are lifted, or the regime is changed. That's where it's going to end at the end of the day. And America will now become everything that has to do with world economy.
Thank you so much, Brown. Thank you so much for your wonderful opinion. Now to call it a wrap on this segment of International Forum from our Lagos Network Center. How do you think all this will end? For what Brown said, he said America will eventually have its way in Iran. Yeah. Do you see the same?
Absolutely. That's what they are. And then to fast track that is the fact that the people of Iran are against the government. So that's just an easy one for America. So America, and like he said, I agree with him, America has taken over Venezuela. I mean, Trump practically said Venezuela will be only buying product from America. You understand? It will do the same with Iran. It's another way of colonizing them. You understand? Making them free, they are free, but it tells them what to do. Make them like a puppet. You understand? So it's all going to be all win for America, while it will kick out Russia, kick out
But I don't think this will lead to splinters of cells, of terrorist cells. Let me just leave Iran to start causing mayhem and destruction in the Middle East and, of course, the world.
Now, the thing is this, America can calculate all of that, and they will come in hard on them. Before Iran begins to do that, the America will come in. Now, the advantage America is having here is that Russia and China are not willing to confront America on the proximity of coming from another country. If not, they would have protected Venezuela. They couldn't protect Venezuela against U.S. They would not be able to protect Iran against U.S. And then America knows that. And they're just taking advantage of it.
Thank you so much. As well, the mail source, I really appreciate a wonderful analysis. And of course, to Brown that joined us virtually, I really do appreciate your wonderful analysis. But the protest is very much on. Ali is not backing down, still shooting or ordering soldiers to shoot live ammunition. Other protesters, over 600 killed already, including women and children. Some are saying it's like a chess game. Let's see what will be the next move of Donald Trump. He threatened that if it will continue or persist, America will be forced to intervene. They should intervene. Will Iran make due of its promise? Retaliation. Only time will tell. We'll do it again next week, Tuesday, God willing. Bye for now.